Once upon a time in the grand RNG Casino, where silver vanishes like morning mist and hope is but a whisper on the wind, DadBodDefender cracked open 45 serpentine loot boxes. Inside lay the promise of greatness, perhaps the object cussed, a Soviet mystery wrapped in armor and brimming with potential, or the WZ-111 Erich Concept 1, a German enigma with agility and precision worthy of its lineage, or even the Miel, a bourrasque draped in plushy-fueled dreams. Fate, however, had other ideas, specifically bad ones. Instead, DadBodDefender was bestowed the WZ-111 Model 6, a tank so aggressively fine it could be the poster child for mediocrity. Not fast, not slow, not strong, not weak, just there. A rolling compromise, a whisper lost in the din of armored titans, the tank equivalent of an unsalted cracker. Technically food, but only in the strictest legal sense. But with 8 degrees of gun depression, a stat barely higher than DadBodDefender's depression at watching a well-aimed APCR shot bounce off a lower plate, he soldiered forth. DadBodDefender took his position like a true heavy tank player, finding the first rock, and because nothing says confidence like hiding behind hard cover, this tank had no special gimmicks. No autoloader, no Soviet bias, just him, his comically overtuned turret, and a dream to achieve functional competence. Shots rang out, and so began the dance of disappointment. 13 shots fired, 9 hits, only 6 pens. RNG, his eternal nemesis, whispered cruelly in his ear, chuckling like an ancient trickster god. Yet somehow, despite this tank's reputation as a participation trophy, DadBodDefender was blocking damage like an uncooperative IKEA return policy. 2490 damage blocked. The enemy kept shooting, kept bouncing, kept questioning their ammo choices. He was no longer a tank. He was an immovable barrier, standing defiantly against their hopes and dreams, much like a 3-year-old refusing to eat vegetables. 1. Denial. Surely my shells won't all low roll. 2. Anger. How did that bounce? 3. Bargaining. All right, if this next shot pens, I won't uninstall. 4. Depression. Misses an easy side shot on a broadside heavy. 5. Acceptance. Fine, if I can't hit, at least I'll soak up damage like a stressed out IKEA sponge. This is how World of Tanks teaches emotional resilience. One ricochet at a time. Before the battle begins in earnest, let us take a moment to reflect on all the things DadBodDefender could have been doing instead of loading into this digital coliseum of despair. He could have been outside, trimming the hedges, enjoying the fresh air, basking in the satisfaction of a well-maintained lawn. He could have been learning a new language, expanding his horizons beyond affirmative, Roger that, and how did that not pen? He could have even embarked on the deeply spiritual journey of assembling IKEA furniture, grappling with existential questions like, why does this shelf have an extra screw? And is this diagram deliberately vague, or am I just an idiot? But no. Instead, he is here, in a tank that nobody asked for, preparing to partake in a battle that will, inevitably, make him question his life choices. And with that, it has begun. At this point in the battle, DadBodDefender had a rare moment of self-reflection. What was he truly accomplishing here? Was he a force of destruction, reshaping the battlefield with sheer firepower? No. Was he an indomitable fortress, soaking up damage like a heroic frontliner? Also no. Instead, He had fully embraced the delicate art of appearing busy while contributing as little as possible. Some might call it passive play. Others might call it a masterclass in tactical avoidance. Think of all the legendary tactics of avoidance throughout history. The legendary stealth of that one teammate who spends the entire game defending artillery at the red line. The ancient wisdom of the TD player who refuses to reposition because this bush is sacred. The bold ingenuity of the light tank that scouts exclusively from behind friendly heavies. And now, DadBodDefender would add his name to that list. But unlike these timeless practitioners of tactical invisibility, he had something they did not. A tank so aggressively average it barely deserved a mention. Ah yes, the WZ-111 Model 6. A tank that exists, not as a menace on the battlefield, but as a confusing amalgamation of design decisions. It is the result of a military engineer saying, what if we took an IS-3 and a WZ-51 and made neither? It is a tank with no autoloader, no rockets, no gimmicks, just a gun that fires, armor that sometimes works, and mobility that suggests it's considering an early retirement. But let us not forget its most defining characteristic, 8 degrees of gun depression, which is just enough to poke a ridge, but not enough to suppress the growing despair of relying on this vehicle. It is a tank that inspires neither fear nor respect, but rather a quiet, mere resigned acknowledgement. Oh, that thing. And with that, let us continue. Somewhere in the chaos, DadBodDefender realized something horrific. He was actually not sucking completely. Not great, mind you. But in a team where half the players were competing in a spontaneous who can get back to the garage first contest, he was inexplicably top 3 in damage. 2040 damage done. 10.5% of the team's total output. DadBodDefender. In a tank that exists solely to pad out loot box statistics. At this moment, he knew what must be done. He must embrace his fate. He must lean into the accidental hero's arc. And so, with the battlefield in chaos, his team in disarray, desperately typing LT Scout PLZ, in a shockingly wholesome rendition of the traditional world of tanks chat, and his WZ-111 Model 6 stubbornly refusing to be irrelevant, DadBodDefender, sensing his moment to be mildly useful, made the bold strategic decision to sit on cap while the rest of the team did the actual work. As the dust settled, DadBodDefender took a deep breath and reflected on his performance. 2040 damage dealt, a kill secured, 2490 damage blocked, and at least 3 enemy players questioning their life choices. A true statistical masterpiece of accidental effectiveness. Did he just have a decent game in the WZ-111 Model 6? Did he, through sheer accident and stubbornness, perform better than expected? He ignored the results tab. He stood up. He walked away. Somewhere in the distance, a single IKEA Allen wrench clattered to the floor. The WZ-111 Model 6. The tank that aspired to greatness, but instead achieved the rare distinction of being the mayonnaise sandwich of heavy tanks. Technically filling, but entirely uninspiring. DadBodDefender didn't choose greatness, nor did he find it, but by sheer accident he could mumble, not a complete failure. This mainly due to blind luck, and the enemy team possibly playing with their monitors off. RNG is still his mortal enemy. But for one battle, he was the hero nobody asked for, and frankly, nobody wanted. Meanwhile, in an alternate universe, or more accurately, in this very battle, our Pantera was busy making a name for himself with a staggering 4 frags, contributing far more to the cause than DadBodDefender's existential meanderings. Grestet, commanding a Scorpion G like a true agent of chaos, was out here casually slapping 27-113 damage onto the scoreboard, including a spectacular ammo rack detonation on a Nurgle that surely made at least one enemy player reconsider their life choices. Effortlessly outperforming DadBodDefender's existential crisis on tracks, actually contributing to the team, while DadBodDefender pondered the meaning of bounce shots. Honestly, this entire story should have been about Grestet, but here we are. GG. Loot boxes. GG. If you enjoyed this tactical masterpiece of blind luck and questionable decision making, go ahead and like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Or don't. But then you'll miss out on more tales of improbable heroism, stunning defeats, and, if we're lucky, stories that actually focus on the players who deserve the spotlight. Your call.